Theory by Jason Delgado and William Calero. Chapter 6. Watchers and Sleepers. The meeting room was still buzzing with voices when Vandermark's pen beeped in his pocket. He discreetly clicked a button, silencing it, a sly smile curling on his lips. "Gentlemen," Vandermark said, his voice cutting through the chatter, "I not only know where the machine is, but also what its intentions are. And I am currently disposing of any vexation that may affect the established order." He removed the pen from his pocket, clicking it once more. Far beneath the estate, the air was heavy, charged with a low hum of machinery. The thread room was dark, its cavernous walls slick with condensation, the faint scent of ozone clinging to the air. Dozens of monitors casting pale light across the chamber, each screen capturing fragments of the outside world, news broadcasts, home videos, and the mundane yet intricate lives of people unaware they were being watched. At terminals arranged in concentric circles sat the watchers, their forms eerily human but undeniably alien. Tubes fed into their pale, translucent arms, pulsating with faint, glowing liquid. Their hollow eyes were fixed unblinking on the screens, their skeletal fingers typing in relentless rhythm. Always watching, always observing. The silence was broken by the faint creak of a door as Verdus entered. His large frame seemed out of place in this oppressive atmosphere, moving with a stiffness that betrayed his unease. The air itself seemed to push back against him, forcing brief flashes of pain across his face that he struggled to mask. He glanced at the watchers, their emotionless visages oblivious to his presence, and hesitated before stepping deeper into the glow of the monitors. He approached one of the watchers, handing over a seemingly blank card, its deep purple surface smooth and unmarked. The watcher took it, scanning the card with a handheld device that emitted a soft, ghostly light. As the beam passed over it, an emblem, the symbol of Vandermark, emerged from the void, along with a series of intricate characters, as if drawn from beneath the surface. The watcher took a deep breath, its chest expanding unnaturally, before it began to type. The monitors around it flashed, the images shifting. Slowly, the other watchers began typing as well, their eyes fixed on the ever-changing screens, their fingers moving in unison. The air in the thread room grew heavier. The watchers worked in silence, their movements unnervingly synchronized, as though driven by a singular mind. Tubes pulsed faintly as their skeletal fingers danced across keyboards, each keystroke perfectly timed with the others, creating an eerie rhythm. They were the embodiment of something ancient and unnatural, their hollow gazes fixed on the screens as they pulled at unseen strings, manipulating the threads of the world. A low hum filled the room, growing in intensity as commands ripped through the invisible networks. One of the central monitors displayed a map, Devil's Tower, and its surrounding trails, glowing with small, winking dots. Each dot represented a life, unaware they were about to become pawns in a game far beyond their understanding. As if choreographed, every watcher's hand hovered momentarily over a final key, their translucent skin glistening in the glow of the monitors. Then in perfect unison, they pressed down. A signal was sent. The threads were pulled taut. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Devil's Tower came alive with the quiet hum of nature and human activity. Campfires and lanterns dotted the trails, casting warm light that mingled with the deepening shadows. Hikers and campers moved about, some setting up for the night, others gathering their things to leave, their laughter and conversation blending with the rustle of leaves in the cool evening breeze. But the peace was fleeting. The first shrill ringtone broke the stillness, followed by another, and then dozens more. Cell phones across the trails began to ring in eerie unison, their tones slicing through the quiet like a warning bell. Confused people fumbled for their phones, answering the calls instinctively. And then it happened. Their eyes widened, staring blankly, as if seeing something no one else could. Pupils dilated until only inky black remained. Their phones slipped from some nerveless fingers, chattering onto the rocky ground, but they didn't notice. Their bodies stiffened, faces slack and devoid of all expression. Then, as if yanked by some invisible string, they turned in perfect unison. Without hesitation, they began moving, their steps eerily synchronized, heading toward Devil's Tower. What had been a lively gathering of hikers and campers was now a silent, hollow procession, an army of the unaware. Lanterns were left to burn, campfires abandoned to smolder, as the once vibrant trails transformed into a path of mindless marchers. Above, the stars gleamed coldly, indifferent to the unseen forces that had claimed them. Far from the abandoned campfires and eerie procession, the quiet solitude of the Joyner Ridge Trail stretched into the darkness. The air here felt heavier, carrying with it the faint hum of something unnatural, as if the mountain itself was holding its breath. Bright beams from the team's flashlight cut through the darkness, casting elongated shadows on the rugged terrain. The trail, typically serene and devoid of human traffic, now bore the cautious steps of intruders seeking answers. Cool air mingled with the faint scent of pine and distant wildflowers, while the nocturnal creatures stirred, unseen in the underbrush. Joshi led the way, her scanning device held tightly in her hand, the soft blue glow of its screen reflecting on her focused face. She moved deliberately along the mountain's northern ridge, her frustration mounting as the device stubbornly refused to yield a reading. Then, without warning, the device emitted a sharp, piercing beep. Joshi froze, her heart leaping as the device finally registered. She turned to the others, her face lit with the mix of excitement and relief. "I think this is it," she called out, her voice breaking the stillness of the night. Sully was already moving, his movements brisk as he dropped his pack and began unpacking the components of the sonic drill. The device's mechanical pieces glinted faintly in the flashlight beams as he worked with practiced efficiency. Assembling the three main components of the drill, Sully crouched low to the ground, his sharp eyes scanning the terrain. "This is the spot, right?" he asked, his voice low but steady. Joshi double-checked the signal on her screen. "It's here. If anything's beneath us, this will find it." Sully took a deep breath, gripping the drill tightly. He aimed it carefully at the marked point, his hand steady despite the weight of what they might uncover. Around them, the mountain seemed to grow quieter, as if listening. "I'd stand back," he warned. Em eyed him, skeptical. "You think it'll work?" Sully flashed her a grin. "I know it will." Roland, standing nearby, spoke in his usual prolific manner. "Achievement is the diadem of thought." "Here we go," Sully said, his voice filled with anticipation. He powered on the drill, the device emitting a blue glow, producing a deep rumble as it fired a sonic wave into the ground. The earth shook, the force of the sound tearing at the rocks, the ground lifting and turning in on itself until a hole formed, revealing a hidden passage. Beyond the opening was something unexpected. A metal-walled tunnel, futuristic in appearance, lined with faintly glowing LED lights that pulsed like a heartbeat. The walls were unnervingly smooth, as if machined by something far beyond human capacity. A faint hum resonated through the grated floor, as if the structure itself was alive with energy. Sully powered down the drill, his expression shifting from focus to awe, as he stepped back, staring at the unearthly sight. Jake stood frozen, mouth agape, his gaze fixed on the tunnel, stretching into the unknown. The group exchanged glances, each face a mixture of excitement and trepidation, the reality of what they had uncovered sinking in like a cold weight. This was no ordinary discovery. A rope snaked down into the newly formed hole, swaying slightly before one by one the team descended, boots landing with soft, metallic thuds on the grated floor of the tunnel. The cool, sterile air smelled faintly of ozone, and the steady pulse of LED lights along the walls gave the space an unsettling, alive quality, as if it were waking up to their presence. Joshi was the first to move, holding her scanner in front of her like a talisman. The device emitted a soft hum as it scanned the walls, its reading incomprehensible even to her experienced eye. She paused, her expression tightened as she stared intently at the glowing screen. "I'm not sure which way to go," she admitted, her voice a mix of awe and uncertainty. "Or what any of this means. Pretty cool though, right?" Sully stepped past her, striking a match to light his cigar. The sharp flare of the flame momentarily cast his face in shadow, his expression unreadable as he took a deep puff. The acrid scent of smoke mingled with the sterile air, a small act of defiance against the tunnel's cold perfection. Joshi shot him a disappointing look, waving a hand to disperse the smoke. "Really, Sully? Don't like that down here. We don't know what it could do." Sully was grinning, unfazed. "What? It's a big moment. My baby girl worked better than I thought." He patted the sonic drill affectionately, like a proud father. The team stood silently for a moment, their flashlights tracing the smooth walls that stretched into the dim unknown. Every sound, the scrape of boots on metal, the soft hum of the LEDs, seemed amplified in the oppressive stillness. Somewhere in the distance, the faintest vibration rippled through the grated floor, almost imperceptible, but enough to set their nerves on edge. "Let's move," Jake said finally, prompting the group into action. He adjusted his grip on his flashlight and stepped forward into the tunnel's beckoning depths. Em's gaze drifted upward as she caught sight of something unusual, shimmering in the air. "Hey, look at that," she said, pointing above them, her voice tinged with wonder. The others followed her gesture, their flashlights briefly illuminating the faint haze of smoke from Sully's cigar. A strange light wave rippled through it, glowing faintly as it propagated down the tunnel, its rhythmic pulses like a heartbeat made of light. "Pretty cool, right?" Sully said, exhaling another puff and grinning as he watched the wave ripple again. Joshi raised her scanner, the faint blue glow of its screen casting her face in sharp relief. "Super cool," she murmured, her focus locked on the device. A sharp spark registered, and her eyes widened. "It's a propagating wave, a laser transmitting power. The signal intensity increases this way," she added, gesturing further down the tunnel. Without hesitation, the group turned and began moving deeper into the metallic corridor, their flashlights dancing across the smooth, gleaming walls, the air growing cooler as they advanced. Above them, the light wave continued its rhythmic dance, an unspoken reminder that this place was alive with secrets waiting to be uncovered. Far above the base of Devil's Tower, a different kind of rhythm unfolded. The once tranquil landscape was now disturbed by the silent march of the sleepers. their blank faces illuminated by the faint glow of the moon. They moved with eerie precision, their eyes wide and unseeing, their footsteps crunching in unison over the rocky terrain. The mob spread out like a living searchlight, combing the area with mechanical efficiency. Then one of them froze. Their head tilted slightly as they looked onto the jagged edge of the hole carved into the earth, the entry point Sully and the team had left behind. Without a word or sound, the sleeper's head snapped up. As though responding to an unseen command, the others turned in unison, their hollow gazes fixed on the opening, and the mob began to converge, their synchronized movements an unsettling mimicry of purpose. Thank you for listening, and buy your copy of Theory today, available on Amazon. Copyright 2025, Jason Delgado, William Calero, all rights reserved.